For 10 seasons, Friends gave us one of television's most famous relationships, Ross and Rachel. But when Rachel wasn't dealing with Ross, she navigated a completely chaotic New York City dating scene. To break down the chaos, we can divide her past into two distinct groups: her serious relationships, the ones with major multi-episode storylines, and essentially everyone else. So to go ahead and get the list started, we have to mention the guy Rachel left at the aisle, Barry Farber. Barry is the wealthy, arrogant Long Island orthodontist who perfectly embodies the shallow country club life Rachel's parents always wanted for her. Rachel realizes she can't spend her entire life just sitting there staring at teeth and looking at Barry's ugly ass, so she bolts from the wedding in the pilot. Sadly, Barry and her end up having an affair in the dental chair, only for Rachel to find out that he's engaged to her best friend Mindy. This pretty much closes the entire Barry and Rachel arc. Thank God. Then came Paolo in season 1, episode 7. He lives in the same building as Monica and Rachel and is basically a walking, talking Italian Fabio. He speaks almost no English, so his entire personality is just based on his looks and the fact that he's from Italy. Rachel meets him during a blackout where he's looking for his cat. For her, he was a passionate rebound to prove she could have her own fun. For Ross, it was a complete nightmare. The whole thing crashes hard when Paolo tries to grab Phoebe's ass during a massage appointment, proving looks can only go so far. Next is Ross Geller. He's an emotionally insecure paleontologist, a hopeless romantic, and he's been secretly in love with Rachel since the 9th grade. This is clearly the biggest one. After a year and a half of misconnections, bad timing, they finally become a couple in season 2 after she watches the old prom video. That started one of the most famous messy relationships on TV, leading to decades of breakups, accidental Vegas weddings, having a baby together, and endless arguments over whether or not they were on a break. Joshua. In season 4, episode 13, we get Joshua. He's a wealthy, recently divorced executive who comes into Bloomingdale's just to get a new wardrobe. He's polite, a bit reserved, and completely socially retarded to the fact that Rachel has a massive crush on him. She spends weeks trying to get his attention, even putting on her old high school cheerleader uniform. When they finally start dating, Rachel panics because Ross is suddenly getting married to Emily. Desperate to keep up, she completely scares him away by proposing to him after just a few casual dates. Tag Jones. Tag Jones shows up in season 7, episode 4. He's Rachel's young, enthusiastic, incredibly naive 24-year-old assistant. She hires him at Ralph Lauren entirely because of the way he looks, passing up a woman who is way more qualified for the job. Their secret workplace romance is fun at first, but then it hits a wall when Rachel turns 30. Looking at her timeline, she realizes she wants marriage and a family, while Tag is still really young and incredibly stupid. Joey Tribbiani. Joey is a sweet, fiercely loyal, and simple-minded soap opera actor who has been Rachel's closest friend, support system, and roommate for years. This is absolutely one of the most controversial decisions Friends ever made. On a personal level, I wish this never would have happened. But after years as close friends, Rachel and Joey decide to see if their deep bond could ever turn romantic. On paper, Joey is the most supportive, loving presence in her adult life. In reality, the transition to romantic intimacy proves impossible. Their physical chemistry just isn't there, and they wisely decide they are better off just as friends. Well, now we're going to transition over to the other guys, and I know this list may be controversial. I apologize, tried to do it the best I humanly could. Start the other guys off with Russ. Fresh off breaking up with Ross over his infamous pros and cons list, a grieving Rachel somehow ends up dating a soft-spoken periodontist who happens to be a literal psychological clone of Ross. The bizarre glitch lasts for exactly 1 episode before Rachel finally realizes she is dating a literal clone of her ex and immediately bails. Danny the Yeti. Danny was introduced in season 5, episode 6, the one with the Yeti. Danny earns his nickname after Rachel and Monica mistake him for a wild Sasquatch living in the basement. Once he shaves, he and Rachel share a genuine slow burn attraction. However, the potential is immediately killed when Rachel gets a closer look at his family dynamic. Danny shares an incredibly bizarre, overly physical, and boundary-free relationship with his biological sister that leaves Rachel horrified. Gavin Mitchell. Gavin first appeared in season 9, episode 11. Gavin takes over Rachel's job at Ralph Lauren while she is away on maternity leave. This initially triggers an intense, fierce workplace environment, but that tension gives way to a genuine attraction. Following a massive kiss on her birthday balcony, Gavin is smart enough to see the writing on the wall, realizing she is still completely emotionally entangled with Ross and then her new baby, Emma. He quietly steps aside before anyone gets hurt. Michael. Michael was in season 2. The poor, completely normal guy who had terrible luck of sitting across from Rachel on a blind date while she drank way too much wine, obsessed over Ross, and left the legendary drunken "I'm over you, that's closure" voicemail. Tommy the Screamer. Season 3. Tommy, played by Ben Stiller, seemed perfectly normal until Rachel left the room, at which point he would turn into a screaming sociopath who yelled at strangers and baby chicks. Mark Robinson. Season 3. A helpful fashion professional with Bloomingdale's who never officially dated Rachel, but his workspace friendship helped trigger the nuclear explosion of "We Were on a Break" fight. Paul Stevens. Paul is introduced in season 6, the intimidating father of Ross's college girlfriend, played by Bruce Willis. He briefly dated Rachel and tries to put on a tough guy act right before completely breaking down and sobbing about his childhood on her lap. Josh. Josh was in season 4. He was the goofy college kid Rachel briefly brought to the coffee house to use as a prop to make Ross jealous. All right, YouTube friends, I think we got the whole list. If anybody likes this video, if you could like, that would be awesome. Appreciate you.